let you guys have access. So share my screen, screen 1. All right, so we're going to be going over the last step in this entire grant process. So we have G, R, A, N, and the last one is the T. And you guys see my screen on here, right? Okay. So yeah, at the narrate phase, our idea isn't really, on the narrate phase, we're not following the rules. Our idea is just to make a beautiful vision that just really makes sense. And I'm at the phase now where, yeah, I want to get feedback from you guys, and then I want to mark this one complete. So is there any feedback, not necessarily on is it technically sound on following all the rules, because we follow all the rules on the next step, but just as far as the vision and the direction we're going in, do you have any feedback to give on the direction? Are there any really big grammar issues in there? Any of that? Suzanne, what are your thoughts? No, I haven't changed anything since then. Okay, well, if there's nothing wrong on that, then I'm going to go ahead and mark this get feedback as done. So I asked 2 different people, and they've both read it. They don't have any problems with it. And since there's no problems with it, we don't really have to do a narrative revision. And if you guys actually execute these tasks, it will break down a little bit further what it wants you to do in there. Essentially, it wants you to just have somebody read over your work and see if you're going in the right direction. And if you're not going in the right direction, then you have to do, you just have to do a revision of it. But if you are going in the right direction, they still might say, for example, you missed some statistics, or you missed this, you missed that. So I'm going to mark this one complete as well. And now we're moving on to the target phase. Cool? Okay, so in the target phase, I already executed these yesterday, I believe. And if we go over to our tasks and we go to the analyst. Okay, so yeah, before we hopped on the screen recording, Rhubarb said, she said, well, you're not really using statistics in here, and they want very specific statistics, and I don't see those. And that's the whole idea of step number 1. So step number 1 is align your approach. So we need to make sure that, yes, we are aligning this with the exact timeline of fiscal analysis, and we need to have the right ERP, enterprise resource planning. We have to make sure we're using the right software they're recommending, and we need to put this in a vision that makes sense. So we already did that on one of the pages, and I'm going to open that up. And if you guys weren't with me yesterday, I will show you what I did. I went in here, and I went into the related documents, and I looked through any of these documents that we actually have to turn in as the end goal. And I opened this location up in SharePoint, which you can see over, let's see. So I opened this up in SharePoint. And once it was open in SharePoint, I just clicked on all the ones that I want to keep, that I need for the final draft, and I downloaded them. I hit the download button. And then, so you guys with me so far on that? After I downloaded all of those, I went over to the dockets area, and I uploaded them into this DLTR docket. So now you can see we have 4 files over here. So if you guys would like to follow along with that, then go over here into the docket area, and you can see our end result. So what do you think? You going to follow on screen? You guys want to follow on the files? And both. Okay, so I don't really like opening these right here because it's just not as interactive. So I personally will hit the little dots, and I will choose open location. And then I'll open it up this way. what that does, that gives me SharePoint. And now once again, I can click the little dots. And the nice thing about this, like I was saying on my last video, you can revise this, you can look at the version history, you can alert if someone changes anything. Like that technical proposal, I'm kind of nervous you guys are going to mess it up. So I'm going to put an alert on here. And yeah, it says alert me when items change. So I can kind of babysit this file and turn it on for me. It's going to email me. I can even send a text message to myself if anybody changes it. If Rhubarb goes in there and puts a table on my document. And another thing I could do, if I don't want to watch it this way, I can just check it out. I can click these dots and I could say, check out. Where's my checkout button? More. Oh, there it is. Yeah, check out. So when you check it out, it goes just to me and nobody else has access to that. They can just have viewing access. And especially, I mean, we're a team of 3 right now, so that's not that big of a deal. But if you have a team of 20 on here, definitely check your files out and keep them just to yourself. And whichever one you're working on, you know, you can pin it to the top and it moves it up here, makes an actual picture of it. So that's kind of nice too, because you might have 10 files in here, and whichever one you want your team to be focusing on, you can say, hey guys, I pinned it to the top, and all of that. But I'm going to unpin it. Unpin. So there's a lot of features inside of SharePoint that you guys should really learn, and so you can use our system really well. So essentially what I did, I found 4 different files that I know that we actually need to send in. Okay, and then I went back to their actual website, and now the whole idea of this very last phase, this target phase, let me go back to the requests area. I'm just going to have a few tabs open as I work on it. Okay, so we're in the task area, we're in the target area, and it breaks down a lot of different questions. And we need to, I'm going to pin this to the side. So we have all of those, but if I want to see those in a lot more detail, I have my actual tasks over here too. So let me put my tasks over on the left. So now we have our docket, we have the request, and we have all of our tasks. And essentially it says we need to use the project orbit outline, and we need to find synergy among everything. So the cool thing about how we did this, we actually did this at step 1. So let's also go back to the requests and let's open up our OneNote, just so we have OneNote open while we're working. I'll put it on the other side of the tasks. And I really recommend that you guys have your tasks, your tab windows open like I have. And just to break down what those tab windows are, we have the docket area, we have the request area, your tasks breaking down what you need to do, and then your OneNote file, your OneNote workbook, and then have the SharePoint site of all the files that we need to be working on. Now, I took this one step further. I don't actually need these 4 files here, because last time I hit this sync button. And when I hit this sync button, it pops up and asks me if I want to sync this to my computer, which I said yes. So I'm actually going to close this folder out, and the reason I'm going to do that is on my own computer. If I go into my own file here, you can see I have it synced here. Inside the Data Learning Institute, I have a whole folder in here that's synced exactly to that folder. And this is just way easier for me to use than an online interface. So I now have this here on my actual computer. Frees up a tab on my computer, and so then I don't know if we need this SharePoint area. These are all the assets found in the request. So, you know, if we went to the documents over here, these are all these files. And I still just have the SharePoint site open with that. So I'll keep it open for now. We might come over here and play around with these. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so that's just getting our whole browser window set up to get started working. And on our tasks, it says we need to put together a project orbit outline. So if we go into our OneNote and we go to orbit, we actually did a pretty good job of this. This is our project orbit. And now we can look this over and we can see if there's anything that we would want to change on this. And you might keep coming back to this and you might keep updating it over and over. So now that we've read through the program, we just need to ask ourselves, is there anything that we need to change? Does this match the narrative that we wrote? So yeah, what are your thoughts? I'll get some water while you guys think about that. So quiet. They're fine. Okay, so let me go back to my tasks. Align the approach. Use Gantt charts, fiscal analysis, ERP. So ERP, we need to figure out what kind of software we're going to be using. And we've decided that we're going to be using Office 365, Azure, and we don't necessarily have that written down anywhere. So I guess I'll go ahead and write that down because I have it in my head, and that's not really fair to you guys that I have that in my head. So I'm going to put in here the ERP. So the ERP, we will use the Curiosity community to service this grant. It is comprised of the following software. I'm doing this for two reasons. I want you guys to feel empowered that you can come in on your own and make your own grant with this and not feel like you need me. If I have anything stored in my head, that is very selfish, and I need to get it out of my head and share it with the team. And then I can blame it on you guys. I'm going to say, hey, I put the ERP in that OneNote, and it might look like just one teeny tiny word ERP here, and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I ever find that? Well, you use your search feature up here, and I can be on any of these files like scope of work, and you can just hit your search, and you can search for ERP. So I'm going to find one file in here that has those little letters on. Ooh, has it on 4 areas. So overview, it found ERP there, ERP here, and look, immediately I find it. Just takes a few seconds. So definitely do searches before you ask for help. And now that we have ERP in there, so we're going to use the Curiosity community to service this grant, and it is comprised of the following software. We have an Azure server managed by Global Enterprise. And then we also have Office 365 licenses. And that's kind of a subset of this. And we have Dynamics 365 licenses. We also have Qiskit server by IBM. Again, it's managed by Global Enterprise. Global Enterprise is one of the partner companies with our nonprofit. Okay, so Qiskit server. So we'll also come back to this because I'll show you guys in a little bit the budget sheet that I put together. So that feels good. We have the ERP put together. I'll even bold it to kind of give it its own little area. Okay, so besides the ERP, let's go back and see that task. What do they want us to talk about? Gantt charts, fiscal analysis. So yes, we do need to break down this money here and make sure this adds up to the amount we're asking for. And this doesn't have to be perfect at this point. This is just kind of step one. And how these tasks are set up, we're kind of repeating the exact same task 5 times just to make sure it gets more perfect and more perfect and more perfect. So we do already have that fiscal analysis there. We looked at it. We are okay with it. It makes sense. We did our ERP. It talks about the software that we're using. We could talk about... I don't feel it's that necessary since we have so much written on the Ignite Curiosity website. But if you guys are confused on that, then you can take notes here and add more of our software in. And then a Gantt chart. So we don't necessarily have a Gantt chart. And you guys should definitely know what Gantt charts are. You guys ever worked with those before? These are Gantt charts. So something like this is a very common Gantt chart. And we don't necessarily have a Gantt chart per se, but we did come up in the document. So let's go look at our documents. And I'm going to open up the actual technical proposal now. And on page like 13, we do have a timeline. And that timeline is what we decided would be our Gantt chart for this. It's a very informal one. Yeah, so here we are, page 13. This could be your Gantt chart. It's not a Gantt chart, but for this particular program, I'm fine with this. And then when we do want to write down in here all the information talking about this, all of this is just gibberish. Doesn't make sense. So we will want to update that once we get this put together a little bit better. So I'm going to go back over to my tasks, and I feel like we're done with this task. It says you need these for yourself, and they're also great to include in your fiscal approach. They're usually asked for in the proposal. So a lot of this stuff that we're putting together, it's not even for the proposal. It's just for us so that we understand our own project. So yes, I do feel good with this. I'm going to mark it complete. You guys have any objections to that? No. Okay, so mark it complete. Then we go on, create an approach. Okay, so we want to expand our strategy to create a 5-year timeline. So how about we make a new page in our notes and we call it 5-year timeline. And the reason we talk about a 5-year timeline, a lot of the bigger grants, if you're getting 20 million, they're probably going to last for 5 years. And a lot of times when we make these requests, we might start it out just talking about year 1 of how to get the money and how to get started. And the whole team kind of gets lost in how to get started, and they forget, oh yeah, we gotta make this go for 5 years. So that's kind of the purpose right now. We need to take whatever we built and how do we make it have perpetual motion? How do we take it beyond just the funds that we get and turn it into a longer vision? And I already have some good solutions for this, but I want you guys to think about what we wrote on there, and the answer is even on that page. But what would you do to take this beyond to 5 years? How do you make it sustainable? And the task should ask that. So expand your strategy to create a 5-year timeline using our templates in the project orbit outlines. And you need to very clearly show that there's an ethical approach and there's a fiscal approach. So ethical means that we don't need to constantly be begging for money, and that we don't need to constantly, that's just not going to disappear afterwards. It also means that there's integrity with all the relationships. And then the fiscal approach, we're going to get $400,000 for this, but how does it continue when there's no more money given? What's the plan after that? And then go beyond the initial 5 years and even create a 50-year plan. So essentially, 50 years is another way of saying make it last forever. And look at your existing notes and perpetual motion to start conceptualizing a narrative for how the budget can be perpetual as well. So yes, how can the budget last forever? Sustainable programs that no longer need grant funding get the most attention and have the most resilience. Learn how to keep the project in orbit. So yeah, the whole idea is that we launch this project, but it stays in orbit thereafter, and let it use its own energy to fulfill all areas necessary and have a linear or an exponential growth fiscal model. Do you guys have questions on this? Well, you guys are going to do it. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about, but I'd like you guys to put that in here and even discuss it between yourselves as to how that's going to work, why that's going to work. And I want to do that for two reasons. I don't want to just lead this all on my own. This is a very easy area. I want you guys to connect over to the tasks, put it back into the OneNote, pull the information from wherever you need to. Maybe you know where that is already written in our narrative, and keep it in here for future people to read these notes. And we're recording, so I'd like you to talk out what you're doing as well, so that, because you'll probably have people that you're teaching this to in the future, and help them understand how your brain's working and what you're going through. Yeah, learn to think out loud. Even the thoughts that don't make sense, say them out loud so other people can comprehend what's going on. In other words, don't be quiet. We got some words coming up. Yeah, you're talking about spending money, not really making money. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff we need to continue paying for. Are you putting the bullet lists in? Yeah, that's fine. I'm just wondering who's where. Well, there's also other ways we can make money. I know I'm the one that mentioned we can get memberships of the students. Do you guys have any other ideas? I want you to learn how to think outside the box and be creative with this. There is no right or wrong. It's just if you come up with something that works, it works. Well, I think you guys should expand on both of those. Don't be nervous and just throw an idea out and be worried it might be wrong. Take it all the way through to the very end and write it down and then look back at it to see, does it make sense? Is that feasible? Do the other people on the team like it? And if we like it, yeah, we all keep it. So, I mean, I'm the one that came up with this. We charge membership to the kids. And maybe you guys don't like that, though. That's just one idea. And I have a few other ideas in mind. I just don't want to share them. I want you guys to generate some ideas. And did you look over our narrative to see if you found any information on this? So we have a paragraph here on page 7 that says exactly about the membership stuff. You can copy that one little paragraph completely. Okay, back over to the OneNote. So fundraising activities. Can you break down those fundraisers a little bit more? Give them a problem, and it's a contest, and they sign up for the contest. All right. Well, I see each of you guys are picking little blocks. They would advertise at the fundraiser. Okay. Yeah, I like where you're going with that. So let's back that up. It's a fundraiser. And what's happening at this fundraiser? And where is it happening? Okay. Well, how about we use the BB2C Center, since that's the biggest one, and they can have lots of people over there. Okay, so we used to do a lot of 5K runs, but what you were saying about your contests and all that, you need to write it down. It can't be in your head. It can't be in my head. You have to write a lot. And neither of you guys are writing very much. And there needs to be notes here. Because, yeah, we need them to know this. We don't need us three to know it. And another one that I'm talking about is 5K fun run. And it would be an Ignite Curiosity fundraiser. Sponsors pay fees to show up. So you can see how much I wrote. It doesn't take me very much time, and I give a lot of bullet points. So the more you give, the better. So one idea I have is we'll do a 5K fun run. The next idea I have is we will reach out to these actual companies. So I like what Rhubarb was saying. She said this is kind of a community project, but I want to expand on that a lot further. And that's why I was asking. I want you to take it out of your head, and you guys are just very nervous and slow with it, and write a whole paragraph on what that would look like. Yeah, how about we do partnerships with local businesses? Yes. So, partnerships with local businesses. And let's write a list of them here. Constellium, Hino, Creighton, DuPont, Marietta Memorial Hospital, Camden Clark Hospital, and then I want to say what those partnerships are going to do. Partner companies will provide career statistics and information on human resource needs for their organizations. They will provide funding and consulting on new course creation specific to their industry. The courses will be implemented into our smile spaces. So, what do you think? It's saying that cannot sync. To prevent losing any loss, don't close this tab until you're reconnected. Whatever. I'll copy it to my clipboard. I think I want to keep it just local. I mean, this is enough. This program doesn't cost that much. I think the ongoing costs are going to be maybe 100,000 a year, 50,000 a year. It's not going to be that much. So we already had sponsorship from Creighton before when we were not a nonprofit. My mom and my sister, they did 5K runs for 10 years, and they already raised money to help run that one center called the Maple Ridge Learning Center. They already used the money to run that one. And that's when we were not a nonprofit, no funding at all from anybody. So I'd like to start that 5K run back up again, but then rebrand it as a Ignite Curiosity run. And we'll give all the proceeds of this to these to the smile spaces. Okay, so I also believe, hey, where'd her sentence go? Did you delete it? Why? Come on. Yeah, it doesn't need to look pretty anyway. You guys write so little that any one word you put it there, don't delete it. That's like a gold mine. You say so little and write so little, just keep everything there. Okay, so another one I'm going to put on here is Ignite Curiosity Swag. And we have bookmarks, hats, pins, t-shirts. You know, like kids really like to get patriotic about which school they're going to, what program they're in, and we can sell these, and that can help keep us up and running too. And not only can it keep us up and running, we already made a lot of designs for this. If we go in Fruit Hive, I don't know where it is actually. I just want to show you a few of the designs that we made. Yeah, here's one called Swag. Can you guys see it on my screen? It's a pin with a little rocket ship. There, that one might have the better colors of our program in it. And then we made a hat. We made a cell phone case with a little lightning bolt on it. Because I'll put cell phone case keychain. Yeah, we'll get a keychain that's just a lightning bolt. Oh, we have a coffee mug. A journal. And yeah, the idea is I want to sell these at a really high cost. And the parents should know when they're buying it, it's helping keep the program running. I'll show you guys those bookmarks. Actually, they might be on the actual website. Let's go bring up the actual website. Yeah, if we go to the shop over here. Here we go. So yeah, we have a t-shirt on a little girl. We have 4 different types of bookmarks. Yeah, we have the coffee mug. So I think we can add all of this stuff into the proposal. What are your guys' thoughts? What's Rhubarb think? Okay, so let's go back to look at our OneNote now. So 5-year timeline, membership fee covers the maintenance. Oh my gosh, you guys are horrible. Yes, let's call that combining my area with your area. There we go. So vendors, have vendors at the, so I'm going to put a vendor booth. Yeah, you can put a list of vendors under here. Face painting, food, local venues, crafts, stuff like that. And you can add more in there if you want. And yeah, the cool thing is my mom and sister were already doing this. They just didn't have our help on a more, I mean, we're just really good at business operations and getting corporate partners. So I do want to spin that back up, and we'll be the leaders on it on a more professional level. I think it's Camden Clark. Okay, so now this page feels very verbose. I think we have tons of info here. Going on, I want to expand on the fundraisers that Suzanne said. She said we can have a contest. Instead of calling it a contest, I think we should do a hackathon. You're saying Dev Dojo related? We've already done a lot of hackathons with, you know, big universities. I mean, we were a sponsor of the Yale hackathon. Right. So hackathon. So an annual hackathon. And Dev Dojo. Partnered contests for students. Partner with local companies and industries. Tap companies. So learn to use the nonprofit lingo. We don't want to call it tap. This sounds aggressive. So you can call it sponsors. company sponsorship and career booths. Like usually at these hackathons, all the kids come, they have fun, they play games, they eat food, and then there's also booths there set up where they can go and talk about getting a career at all these companies. We could do it at BB2C due to their large area, can still facilitate more people. I'm even thinking we could partner with one of the schools or a stadium of some sort to make it even bigger. Because their building, it's not that big. Maybe the first year we could do it there and we can move it afterwards. And that membership fee is called the Focus Pass. So the Focus Pass membership fee. Okay, so yeah, I now feel this is tons of information. You guys feel good with this? Yeah, well, when we say student, that's something also unique about the program. It's any age. So if the parents want to, and we're going to encourage the parents to learn just as much as the kids. Because, I mean, these are in farm communities, and a lot of the people are going to be 40 years old. They don't have a job, and they want to learn. So we're going to recommend that they get a Focus Pass to join our programs. No, it's self-paced. So I'm going to go back over here. So you see all these programs that are involved in Ignite Curiosity. They can log into anyone they want and go at their own speed. And they can choose anyone that they want. Same way with Developer Dojo. On their Unreal Academy, they can spend 5 years just in Unreal Academy. They can do that at 7 years old. They can do that at 40 years old. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just learning a new language. Hacker Rank, same way. I have 10-year-olds I teach this to. I have 50-year-olds I teach this to. No, they're not going to be separated there either. There's going to be a 10-year-old in class right beside of them on another computer. You got grandma there, 70 years old, also taking a class. And that's very common in the rural areas anyway. Yeah, and I actually taught at a high school in California, which we had grades 6 through 12 all in the same classroom. And it was a very nice private school. And yeah, I'd have a 6th grader there and a 12th grader there, both learning the same material from me. And the kids were allowed to switch around their classes as much as they wanted. There wasn't like a strict curriculum that they had to follow. They just had to make sure when they graduated they had all the credits, but not necessarily the order that they got them in. So I like that style a lot. This is the same way. It's student-led. They get to choose what they want to focus on. We'll kind of guide them, but, you know, whatever they're curious about, they can go for. Okay, so you guys have any other questions on the OneNote? Are we good with this? I feel like this can go past 5 years very easily. I don't think we need to add anything for the 50-year approach. What are your thoughts? Okay, so I feel very good with that. Let's go ahead and mark this one complete. And that gave us, I believe, 4 hours to come up with that. And you see how fast we did it. Okay, fiscal amounts and targeting. Okay, go through the following 5 fiscal items and give clear answers to prepare the budget narrative. The currency. So it's saying it should only take you 10 minutes to choose the currency. So if we go back into the request area, the currency is US dollars, and sometimes, yeah, that might take 10 minutes. Like if we're working in a country we don't know very well, we might need to research that, figure that out. So the alignment's complete, the approach is complete. We already have US dollar, that's complete. Our exchange rate is also fine. So let's go back and look at our task. It says exchange rate. You have to figure out the difference in the dollar amount compared from US dollar to whatever that country is. That doesn't matter on this one, so we'll skip it. But that definitely could take a little bit more time than you think, because sometimes you have to look for that inside the RFP. The RFP itself says what the exchange rate is. You can't go to Google and find exchange rate. You have to listen to the RFP. So that especially applies with you, Rhubarb, USAID and UNICEF and all that. When they work with Pakistan, you can't go on the daily trade rate of the rupee. They usually have a set rate that's 6 months old. And you know, with a rupee, it flies all over the place. So they just say it's set. I think it's like, I forget, 1.55 right now for the rupee. Okay, so amount requested. Choose the amount the recipient will desire to achieve this project. Consult with the recipient if necessary. Well, we are the recipient. I'm the president of that. But if you're just hired, you might have to consult with whoever that is to figure out, is my budget narrative matching how much you guys are requesting? Is that okay? And so let's go back into our request and look. We said 400,000, and I think we are still good on that 400,000 marker. And Susanna and I looked at that last night. So the amount requested, I am going to put in over here 400,000. Okay, and the amount recommended too, if we do meet with a financial advisor, they can look over our company, they can do an audit of us, and they can make a recommendation to us on how much they think that we would be prone to get on this. And I'm going to just put in 400,000 again. We're not going to be consulting a financial advisor to get that number, so I'm just doing it myself. And then the total project budget is going to be like 490,000. And again, Susanna and I looked at that last night. I'll be bringing up that paperwork to talk about it in a moment. So let's go back and look at our tasks. Okay, it says look over the amount requested, the amount recommended, and the amount projected. And it gives you an hour each to look at all of that. And then it says who the fiscal sponsor is. The sponsor is USDA, so make sure on your request that you have the appropriate sponsor in here. And if you see right there, the fiscal sponsor, we already have it set up as the USDA. Okay, so this says budget narrative. So let's go back and look at our task. I feel this one's done because we already put in all our targets and our amounts. We matched our currency, our exchange rate. Everything's good on here. You guys good? Can we move on? Yeah, for both of you? Okay, so mark complete. Okay, total project budget. What does this guy say? Create transparency by providing full disclosure on this request by including the full budget for the project. This will include all necessary arrangements for transport, the whole budget to keep the project in orbit. Store your information in OneNote or Excel attached to this project. Okay, so they actually gave us an Excel sheet that goes over this, but I want to go back to my tasks and I want to see my right budget narrative. Okay, so this is what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, so let's do the project budget, and like I said, they did give us an Excel file for this. And if I go into my shared folder, this one here, you guys have access to this too online, but remember I just synced it to my computer. So they gave us a worksheet. I'm going to open that worksheet up. And I'm going to turn editing on. And let's go from page 1. So on page 1, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, site worksheet. They asked us to put the name in of all of these places, if it's a hub site, what the address is, what town it's in. And what I would like to do, I would like you guys to review this to just make sure I didn't make any misspellings. The site numbers go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want another set of eyes on here, and you're welcome to open it yourself instead of watching me on here. But I'm going to talk through what I did and why I did it. This was already, there's all these tabs down here, and this document was given to us by the company already, by USDA. And if you go to their website and you download right here, it's the DLT worksheets. That's this file that I'm working on right now. Okay, so I feel good on this one, and there's nothing down on the bottom I need to fill in. It's just that area. The rurality worksheet. So they said we need to have a minimum score of 20 required for eligibility, and we have Dow Cottage. Let me make it a little bit bigger again. So we have Dow Cottage. It's a hub site and an end user site, and they have a drop down list in here to choose it. But the census population we have at 14,000. That's not entirely accurate, I don't think. We need to go online and follow the rules to get the exact number. So let's do that now. So we're to the point, I've already filled this whole sheet out, but I did it a little sloppy, and I'm just going back through it now to fix the tiny areas that, like this. So I remember that they had in the sheet teaching us how to do that. I think over here in the application guide. So I'm going to type in Control F and look for the word census. Oh my, it's found 33 times. So that number is not going to help me. So what am I looking for? Population or rurality score. Rurality score. Okay, that's still found 14 times. But this might help me find it. Okay, so see, they say please use this to calculate. And they say where to find it. Applicants can use this population. But I remember they had a map on here showing me exactly how they wanted me to do that. And for some reason, the first time I did it, I was lazy with it. Yeah, well, let me just keep going through my rurality score. See section C1 for additional instructions. Yeah, here we go. Finding information on the census website. Perfect. Okay, so we go to data.census.gov. Hopefully it works. Last time I was here, it just didn't work. Okay, data.census.gov. Sweet, it's working. They said, and I just kind of memorized it, but I'll show you guys what I'm doing. It says to click on advanced search, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. So over here, see it says advanced search, and after we do advanced search, they just walk me through exactly what to do. It's not like I know how to do this. So then they say geography, then they say places. Yeah, place. And then they wanted me to type in the name. No, it was one more. They said pick your state. And then they said type in the name. And they said it's usually the top one. Oh. I think they said just click on one of these and hit the search button. And then they said find the P1 table. That's right there. So here's table P1, and it pops up over here. And they said then use that number right there. Okay, so it's 14085. So I was close. I don't know why I rounded it over. Just wastes my time and makes me have to do it again. So 14085, 14085, because those are in the exact same spot. Okay. Then I think we're good on this page. So what I did on this page, I then took these numbers, 14,000, and down here it says, you know, if it's between these, you get 30 points. If it's between those, you get 20 points. And I took all those numbers and I just calculated to figure out over here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it wants us to add all of those up, divide it by how many there are, get the average. So we have an average score of 32. So that's cool. This one's good. You guys have any questions on this? Nope, just fell asleep. Okay. So let's go to economic need. So on the economic need, they also gave us a chart called the SAIPE. And that was downloaded into our notes. So I'll just show what that looks like. And each one of these grants is just a little bit different. So they have in here the SAIPE county level. So let's click on it. And I just want to double check my work. If you guys want to do this on your own to double check my work, you're more than welcome to. And this shows what county it is in. So we have Washington, Meigs, and Jackson. So I'm going to type in Meigs, because I know Meigs is a unique word. And there it is, Ohio, Meigs, right there, 17.8 is the number. We should have that number over here, 17.8. So then let's look for Washington in the same state. So all the Ohio's are put together. Here's Washington, it's 15.9. So that's 15.9. And then 16.7 for Jackson. So we'll type in Jackson. That's a more common word. See, that's Oklahoma. That's the wrong state. We need it for West Virginia. There's Oregon. There. Tennessee. There's a lot of Jacksons, I guess. Here we go. Here's West Virginia. So that's 16.7. 16.7. And I guess they don't say there's a minimum that we need to have. So once again, I took all of those, added them up, and we got 16.6 as our average. After we got the average, it fit right in here on this one. It's right in the middle of those. So that means we get 10 points. So I took that number and I popped it up in right there. You guys understand all of that? Okay, so I feel like this is good. You guys are welcome to check my work. And then let's move on to the matching worksheet. So the matching worksheet, we essentially put in all the different things that we're going to get donated to us, and then what we're going to do with that. So far, we have a lot of donations from Microsoft, and we need to get a letter from them saying that they're donating this. And man, I was looking for their letter and I didn't find it yet. I know I have it, I just have to look through my emails, and so I'll get that. So we can't really finish this task till I get that email, but at least we have the right numbers put in here for what we're going to be using. And yeah, I did some calculations on how many we need, and we'll get back to this in a minute. So let's move on to the next page. Sample special consideration. So they do say if you're focusing on STEM education, then you get special consideration. So that's cool. We definitely are focusing on STEM, so we get an X for that. They say also, if you have any of your end user sites in an opportunity zone, you also get special consideration. So they only want you to click one or the other. I put an X on both. They might not be happy with that, but I did that anyway. And then I need to sign on here. But I can't sign this because as soon as I sign it, it's going to lock all these other pages in. So we'll come back to this, and it says the same person signing your SF 424 needs to sign right there. So in the future, you guys could fill every single page out, and you could leave it just ready for me to sign, and I would be the one looking over your work. So yeah, this page is good, but again, we have to come back to it to finish it up. So now let's move on to the last page, which is the budget. So I put this together yesterday as well, and I'm just zooming in a little bit so you can see what's going on. And I didn't really have a formal way I was doing this. I just started from the top on all of our sites, and I picked, okay, this site needs one of these devices and how many we need. I went on the internet to figure out what they cost, and I did read on their proposal. They were saying, like, we don't want to see vague stuff. Like, they might not like this here where it just says network installation for 7Gs. They might not be happy with that. We might need to break that down into very tiny segments of, what is that? Also, this 12Gs, they might not be happy with that either. And they might not be happy with 50, 50, 50, 50. So we might need to break these down further. But what I would like you guys to do is at least look this over and see if it makes sense on why we're getting pieces at each place. And what I did is I put in Dow Cottage here, and I said, for example, Wi-Fi router, and a Wi-Fi router that we would want for this size of a project would be like $300. We need one of those, and turns into $300 there. If we get it donated to us, then we put the amount for it over here as well. If it's not donated, it just stays in that column. And it's not like I've used this before. This is a custom sheet that they gave. I never have used this sheet. I just learned how to work inside their Excel file as I got it. Okay, so I'm going to delete that back out because that's not actually true. We're not doing that. But yeah, you guys are welcome to look through all of this and see all the amounts in here. And if we do need to change something, then let me know. And it does say the total is 466,408. So I'm going to copy. Actually, it says overall DLT. Okay, so the overall amount is 558. So I'm going to copy out 558. Oh, I'm doing some math right now. This number is wrong. This 374 is wrong. For some reason, I think they just messed up on their math on how they're doing it. It's supposed to take all these numbers here as donations, and it's supposed to put them down proposed in kind. Yeah, so this is in kind. And then this one, matching worksheet B21. So it's taking B21 off the matching worksheet. So let's see what's inside B21. So right here, total proposed matching contribution must be equal to line B plus C in the budget. Line B plus C. So let's go and look. B plus C. So it should be equal to the addition of these, not the same of those. Okay, so it says the sum of all of this. Yeah, so we need to fix that. I need to fix that, I guess. Well, this is right. Donor must provide documentation letter from each donor. Well, maybe instead of having it all itemized like this, maybe they just want one line that says, oops, up at the top, Microsoft 91708. Then I delete out the rest. So 91708. So this number is supposed to be all these added together, which that's fine. But then this last one, less proposed cash match as documented. So that's equal to line 21. And then what is this guy? He's equal to that. So for some in-kind match. Okay. feel like maybe they want me to put it on one sheet or the other. Like maybe they don't want me to put all the donated stuff over here. I feel like I want to, though. It's itemized really well. It shows exactly how we're spending things. I think we should leave it, and I think I should edit their calculation down here. A cash match. So maybe I'm supposed to put cash matches on this page. It doesn't say cash over here. Okay, so maybe we say none. And now let's go look. Yeah, maybe if we don't have a donor and we just have in kind, because they're not giving us cash, they're giving us in kind. So they should call that a cash matching worksheet. Okay, so this says line 1 divided by line 2 must be at least 15% of the grant request. And we have 0, which that's not cool. Maybe. I mean, we definitely could do that. It's not going to be a problem. I just want to make sure it's structured the right way. So from total in-kind match, grant to match percentage, 15% minimum required. So, you know, they have over here must be at least 15%, but then they also say over here it has to be 15%. I think they're fine either way. I think they're fine if it's cash or if it's in kind. Right, so let's see it here. Matching requirements. Let's just go read it now. Okay. So the grant applicant minimum matching, let me get rid of my yellow highlighting. Okay. It must match 15% total of the grant amount. It generally must be in the form of cash. However, in-kind contributions solely for the purpose listed may be substituted for cash and appropriately identified on the budget worksheet. So we just need to make sure the only reason we're getting that stuff, it has to be completely for this grant and can't be used for anything else. Which I definitely think, so let's look at that for now. The faculty licensing software and the student licensing software, that completely is going for Ignite Curiosity. So I think that completely matches. And then down here, the Dynamics 365 licenses that we want, that also completely matches. Because we're going to be teaching the kids and all the students how to use this. And we also need this for the HoloLens. So I do believe that is okay. So let's keep on reading here. Do you have any objections on what I said? Do you guys interpret it differently? Okay. We must provide evidence that funding agreements have been obtained to ensure completion of the project. The agreements shall be sufficient to ensure payment, all required contributions, any other funds necessary to complete the project. Please use the matching worksheet to calculate the match percentage. It's here. Additionally, documentation submitted in support of the application should reflect all financial support for the project for non-federal sources. We must provide evidence from authorized representatives of the sources of a commitment that the funds are available and will be used for the project. Okay, so we have an official letter from Microsoft saying that we're allowed to use all of that software for this teaching stuff. I just have to look through and find that. They also said if you live in these areas or if you are doing work in these areas, you don't need to do the 15% up to $200,000, but that doesn't apply to us. So eligible purposes for in-kind matching. I also read somewhere in here you can't use software licenses. And what are we doing? Software licenses. But they said like if the software needs to be on one specific piece of hardware, then you can't use it. And this is unique in that it runs on Windows, runs on Mac, runs on Android. So I think they're fine with us giving that. So let's see. For a line item, the match is used for eligible purposes. That none of the use is to benefit sites not shown in the scoring. Yeah, so we can't give those to other sites. That the predominant purpose is for the purpose to meet the grant definition of distant learning. Yeah, it's easily over 50% use for that. If any part of the in-kind item is for ineligible purposes, that line item can't be budgeted. To be eligible, it must match all of this. Okay, the technology purchased or credited are intended to build distant learning and telemedicine systems that would not otherwise be financially possible if not for this grant. Yeah, that's true. Okay, federal funds are not eligible as matching funds, so we can't use another grant to make up our matching funds. Okay. Special matching. Oh, I didn't even read this part. Counties in Appalachia. Well, that's cool. This is a county in Appalachia. We're in the Appalachia region of the U.S. But we might not actually be considered an Appalachia county. So let's definitely read this part. If counties in the proposed project are any of the counties eligible under this provision, the Appalachian Regional Commission, funds may be used as a matching contribution. What does it mean by, oh, it's saying ARC funds may be used. So that is interesting. I'm going to copy that and put it in our notes for related programs. Yeah, I'm not going to do it for this program right now, but I never even have heard of this Appalachian Regional Commission. So remember when I told you that RJ should be working with that program for food banks? And if she's not, then she's not really utilizing her resources well. That's the same thing with this. This is in our area, so let's go ahead and do that research. Where are we? Find my page again. Okay, so they have arc.gov. So I'm going to open up arc.gov. I don't know if this is an arc, if it actually is a county in the, oh, it definitely is. So can you see the map that they have here? It's super tiny. But that covers exactly where we are. So counties in Appalachia. Maps. Let's just bring up a map so you guys can see. Okay, 2020 map. Okay, so we are right in this area. And, or I don't know, somewhere in here. And if you see, it says county economic levels. It says distressed. And they're red. So I think we are somewhere right in here. I think that red one might be us. I can't tell, it's so tiny. So grants and funding. ARC grants and contracts. Okay, so I'm going off on a tangent. This has nothing to do with our current grant, but I want to do this anyway. I just want you guys to see, yeah, if you find another program that does match what you're doing, definitely keep notes on that. And just this ARC grant concept, I didn't know this existed. And this, all the time and energy we put in this RFP, we can easily just apply for it over here. Okay, so they have most of these too, like, so for you, Rhubarb, I've already read Pakistan's, they have a whole initiative for like what they have planned to do for the next 10 years. And Imran Khan has, you know, just a huge 50-page document on what his plan is to make the country better. And most of these organizations have that kind of stuff. When you click into this, it's a PDF file, and it only goes till 2020. But what you could do on these PDF files, you can learn the language on here. And I do believe we should add the word Appalachia into our narrative, because we are in that Appalachian region, and that is a distressed area in the United States, and there is special funding going towards that area. But what this does, it's 45 pages as well, and we can read to see, what is their mission? Economic opportunities, leadership and community capacity. So I'm not going to read this today, but I am going to save this into my list. But I definitely will skim it right now to see if there's anything that we should be getting out of this. And probably after we're done with this grant, I'm just going to find a grant from this company, from this place, and see if we can do it. So grantee forms, how to apply. Almost all programs originate at the state level. Potential applicants should contact their state ARC program manager. A small number of grants are awarded through RFPs, sometimes as grant competitions. So it's saying they don't do very many RFPs in here. What they're saying is just go to the actual program manager and just send your proposal to their email. And that's where, you guys might get discouraged thinking like, oh my gosh, we spent 2 or 3 weeks making this proposal and it's so big, and then we get denied. But now that it's all done, all you have to do is take that one file and find other programs like this, and we can send it to the state of Ohio, send it to the state of West Virginia. That's very easy to do. And you build connections that way. Say it again. Yes, so I'm going to copy this dude. Then the Ohio one. So it's Julia and James. Okay. But I just want to skim through here and see if they're supporting STEM education. So yeah, this welding stuff, this is really big. They have a lot of factories, and our HoloLens can help teach people how that stuff works. Strategic plan. Well, mainly what I'm reading in here, they want to help have better building blocks for health, education, and skilled and upskill people. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're not covering health in this proposal, but we're definitely covering upskilling and education. Five strategic investments. Okay, well, this is cool. We should actually talk about these in our narrative. I want to change our narrative a little bit and work in this vocabulary in there. And I want to say that we are aligned with the ARC, with the Appalachian blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to copy that. And we have a lot of notes now. come on, it's so ugly. Economic ready critical. Economic ready critical. Exciting. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I do recommend that we read through this and we understand this well. I can't believe it covers all the way up into New York. I mean, some of these areas have a lot of wealth to them. I guess that's why they're all white. And blue, I guess blue means they've attained the level that they want them to. I would like to see, like, this says distressed at 93. Like, that means it's insanely distressed. And I just want to see where we are on here. Okay, this is Meg's. I can recognize that. And this one's you in Athens. So Athens is even covered. But I'm white. We're just chilling. But then Jackson County is this one at risk. Okay, so we have a white one and an at risk one. Then we have Meg's, which is distressed. Average at risk. Yeah, they're helping people open up little tiny shops. There's not much business in that area at all. And I don't like what they're doing either. They're helping people do this. This does not help increase the economy. They need to do bigger stuff that makes a global impact. They need to bring in big enterprise stuff, and they need to train people on a much bigger level. So they do have a lot of STEM stuff on here. Yeah, so sanitation, highways, we're not really covering that. But we definitely are doing the STEM and the workforce stuff. The natural and cultural assets, we might even cover this stuff as well. Leadership, I think we will be creating leaders out of the teachers at these centers. Shaping our Appalachian region, SOAR. Well, this definitely gives us a ton of literacy. The other thing, people that apply for these, they are not very academic. They don't read through these entire documents. So my point is, if you guys read through all of this and you shape your vocabulary around the kind of words they use, that really helps a lot. And then they already have their own indicators that they're using. They're counting the rate of business startups. They're counting unemployment rate. Trying to see what we would do. Availability of broadband in schools and homes. And that's it. Okay. So like I said, that was a huge tangent that we went on, but now I feel quite informed that we are part of the ARC program. And there's already specific funding going for ARC. Okay, so I'll close that out. We're done with our census. All right, so here we were, special matching provisions in eligible counties. Please see for a list of eligible counties under the counties in Appalachian heading. DLT applicants considering an ARC match are strongly encouraged to contact early in the process to explore the feasibility of an ARC grant. Well, I will contact them probably tomorrow because I feel our narrative will be strong enough. I just want to send it over, and that's more of like building a relationship. Okay, use of non-federal. Types of matching funds. Most applicants propose to provide a catch match. Okay. An in-kind match must be integral to and necessary, not simply a technology purchase made in the same time frame. Unlike cash, in-kind are tied directly to the eligibility. Okay, if an item is not eligible or not integral to and necessary for the project, the item will be removed from the grant and match budget, and the proposed match will not be credited. This could make the application ineligible. In-kind items must be non-depreciative or new assets, not installed with established monetary values. Man, that's a weird sentence. Must not be non-depreciated or new assets, not installed with established monetary values. Costs incurred by the applicant or others on behalf of the applicant for facilities or equipment or other services rendered prior to submission of the shall not be considered as an eligible in-kind matching. In-kind match from vendors is not eligible. Okay. We must provide in the form agreements. We must document the project's proposed matching funds. State the dollar amount. If it's in-kind, state the actual dollar amount and give a complete description of the donation identified by the line item number and the expected date of purchase. So we have to give expected date of purchase. Letters that don't identify the line items in the budget cannot be credited. That do not identify line items in the budget. Keep in mind that items acquired before the application are not eligible. Yes. Applicants that do not submit adequate documentation for in-kind match will be disallowed. We must be consistent with our S424, the budget, and the matching worksheets. So they're pretty much saying all our paperwork needs to say the exact same thing. Equipment operational prior to the submission cannot be considered in kind. Discounts and donations. So one reason I like working with really hard paperwork like this is after we listen to all their crazy rules. I mean, they have a ton of stupid rules, and it's not that much money either. You can take the end result of that and just send an email like to that ARC grant. And for the ARC grant, they're going to be really impressed. They're like, oh, you guys did a really good job itemizing everything, and we're not used to that. Like, yeah, I've taken grants in locally here, and I show them 20 pages of what we're going to do, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I never have seen one this well put together. And they're even embarrassed. They're like, our process is not that complex. We just bring you in and talk for 10 minutes, and we decide right then. Okay, buy-side agreement. Grant applicants were required to purchase equipment. Donated licenses. Yeah, so I think this is the area that I was worried about because it said something about licenses. It talked about software licenses. So let's read this maybe 2 or 3 times. In review of the applications submitted in the past, it was determined that vendor-donated matches. So vendor-donated matches, that's like Office 365. Microsoft is the vendor, and they're donating Office 365. It said they didn't have value without a required subsequent purchase of a vendor equipment or licenses with grant funds. So what they're saying is if they're matching us, but they don't give us full freedom to use whatever equipment and other licenses we want, then they're not going to consider it. Do you guys follow that? It said, for example, in many applications, software licenses were donated in satisfaction of the matching. However, those licenses only worked with and only had value with the exact same vendor's equipment. But I don't feel like we fall in that category. What are your guys' thoughts? Okay. No. We let me find my paper. Okay. So we say we're getting a laptop. We're getting Microsoft HoloLens. That stuff needs these licenses. Well, the laptop doesn't. We can get any kind of laptop we want. I just don't want to get a laptop that's not a Microsoft laptop. I want to get a Microsoft laptop for these people. We're not bound to do it. No, it's just a choice. Yeah, today, right now, I like the quality. 10 years ago, I might have said something else, but it syncs really well with this. And I mean, you're on a Mac right now. It works great as well. It's a little bit better on the Microsoft to have a full Microsoft ecosystem. But I don't need to write in here, this is a Microsoft laptop. I also don't need a Microsoft HoloLens. I don't mind if this is the Oculus Rift built by Facebook. The Oculus Rift, I just don't think is as powerful as the HoloLens. Both of them are mixed reality headsets. Okay, so anyway, additionally, by side agreement, grant applicants were required to purchase the vendor's equipment once the grant was made with grant funds. Yeah, so it's saying like the company made an extra side agreement saying you have to also buy our equipment once we give you this match. And Microsoft doesn't do that. They said, if it's determined that's happening, that's violating federal standards. Okay. Because no equipment would work without the donated licenses. Yeah, so I feel good with this. What are your guys' thoughts? Okay, so since we feel good with that, the whole reason I came over to this document, started reading, was because we were over here and I was worried about how this all looked. So we're now down to 466,000, and that's way higher than the 400 that we said before. So I don't mind taking these amounts and lowering all of these. Okay, now we're at 406. Yes. Yes, I would, and I'll talk about that later too. What I want to do right now is get this document, get all these sheets done, and then there's there's a complete different part of the proposal that we kind of have to start over on writing our proposal. And you guys will see why. It's going to be fast and easy, but it is a whole brand new document that we make. I just wanted to make sure this aligns. So do you guys feel good with all of these amounts in here? Do you have any questions on them? I'm fine with 406. Do you want to be underneath? Do you want to be underneath 400? There, now we got 399, 408. Okay, so, well, let's assume we're good with this. We can always come back later. And yeah, it is 400,000 now. 91,000 is being donated. That's a 22% match. We're good with that. I still will send this whole thing out to the ARC grant thing, and maybe the ARC grant will say, yeah, we'll pay 35 G's just for that one piece. And that does help us a lot. And then we can turn this one into an ARC grant. And let's just assume that we do get that 35,000. That takes us up 10 extra %, and then we don't need to rely on Microsoft so much for donations. We can drop some off somewhere else. Okay, so... Alright, so next piece. I at least want to teach you guys this next section, just so you understand how I'm going to do this. So on this page, they talk about the actual... Yeah, here we go. So telecommunication system plan. We need to make this whole thing, and we need to put this into the document, and that's section H. So like I said, we need to start completely from scratch, and in our OneNote, Suzanne already has B through L, and I think most of these are empty. And what I want to do is move out of the research phase, and I want to move into the narrative phase. And I don't understand what this is. Did you just copy and paste this out of page 15? Okay. Well, I would rather whoever is doing this to have the real document beside of them instead of some... we're just not dumb. We don't need things summarized for us. We need to see exactly what they're asking for. I mean exact. So if it's not exact... So you either need to give the exact copy or give the exact answer. But something in the middle, I think it slows us down more than it helps. So on the executive summary, so like I said, we need to write a whole brand new proposal now. And the reason why, when we open up their document, and I'm on section H right now, let's scroll up on this all the way back to section A. D. Did I pass? Oh my gosh. C. I'll zoom out a little so I can see it better. Okay, so here we go. It says, this section addresses all the information. Please make sure that all the necessary information is included in the appropriate sections. All the forms are in Appendix A. So they want this document with the site worksheet attached. The site worksheet is this, or it at least is this first tab here. They at least want that first tab attached at the beginning. But since they put all of this in one huge Excel file, I would assume I'll just keep it in one huge Excel file. I won't extract things out. But we'll know that answer a little bit more as we go along. So the next thing they want is an executive summary of the project. In each section they have in here, they give descriptions below of how to write all of those. So we really haven't even started yet, since we haven't done this A through M stuff. It might go past M. Nope, it's just M. So yes, we need to just start from the beginning. So I already filled all of A out, so let's skip A and let's move on to B through M. And I also don't understand, over in your notes, it doesn't go down to letter M. It feels incomplete. I get really nervous. It doesn't feel like a robot put this together. Okay, so on executive summary, what I would want to do is look at an executive summary of the project. And we go to section B. Yeah, so I would rather either copy all of this in there or just tell people go and read this page. So yeah, I'm on page 15, and I am going to, I think, just delete all this stuff out. And I think what we want to do is just use these pages to give the answers. So we have this open on one side while we have the OneNote open on another side. And I'll even hide this area. I guess it won't let me hide it. That's enough room to write. Okay, so a description of why the project is needed, an explanation of how the applicant will address this, a description of that. So yeah, I want to go through like a robot and just answer every single area line by line. You're saying on our actual Word document over here you did? Right here on the grant writing section? Okay. Well, instead of having it here, let's use this section down here. So you can like copy and paste it into here. And what I would also like to do is I would like to number what you're putting in so I know what number it relates over to. And combine the what? Well, I don't mind doing all of this. I just want to show you how my brain works on it and how it is organized really well for a team. So this already has, OneNote already has built into it very good bullet listing systems and numbering. So you just press the number 1 point, it automatically turns that into a good system. So we don't have a place anywhere of why this is needed. We kind of do in talking about, you know, only 0.2% of STEM. So I'm going to go into our document and I'm going to go down here. Yeah, this is an argument right here for why we need this. Okay, 2. An explanation of how the applicant will address the needs cited, why we require the financial assistance, the type of education or medical assistance to be offered, and the benefits to our residents. Say it again. So she's on project overview and executive summary. Our project program. Okay, so she did get that 2%. The knowledge of science will help the students to adapt to contemporary trends of financial sustenance by merging technology. That's good content. I don't know why mine's tiny and that one's big. This is all big. Alright, I'll copy yours. Your formatting and put it on mine. Okay, number 2. Did you get number 2 over here? But see how it's hard for me to tell? Like you don't number it? Is it this second area? Right, right. So, is this number 2? Both of these are number 2. Am I accurate on that? A description of the applicant, documenting our eligibility. It's number 3. These two are also considered part of number 3. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to recommend. This company seems very strict on following their rules. So I would rather have these numbered exactly how they want it, exactly what they're doing here, instead of even our beautiful vision over here. Because I think this is going to piss them off. I would rather give this to ARC. Anybody that just wants to donate, or a foundation, this is perfect for them. This looks beautiful. It's a beautiful narrative. It's just not robotic like what they're asking for in here. And I even read on there, it said if anything is out of order, they might consider us ineligible. They pretty much said like it's going to piss us off. We still might give you money, but it definitely is going to slow us down. It's like, all right, guys, since you're robots, we'll make it robot style for you. Okay, that's great. I think we're only using this bottom one. An explanation of the total project costs, including a breakdown of the grant required and the source of matching contribution. So when they say an executive summary, this is what they mean. They think all of this is considered an executive summary. So what I emailed off to that guy earlier in the week, that was not as extensive as this. Does that make sense? So after we get this put together, I'll email him back again and I'll say, hey, here's some more information on it. And I'll send it to the West Virginia person as well. Okay, so for number 4, an explanation of the project cost, including a breakdown of the grant required and the source of matching. I don't know if a table is going to be what they want. Yeah, I think we just need an explanation. I also think we can take this format over here of what we have written in this, because I do like the layout of this whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go into my drive, take the technical proposal. I'm going to copy and paste so I get a whole brand new file. I'm going to rename that file Executive Summary. Exactly. Okay, so now I have Executive Summary. I'm going to change this and call this Executive Summary. Okay, and yeah, we have our applicant information. That's fine. This area over here, this will be fine. It'll automatically update. But now we can go through here and change this one a lot. So on Executive Summary, how do I want that to look? Here we go. So we're going to have 11 areas and then a 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this might be still a 5-page document, just this alone. Yeah. Okay, a description of why the project is needed. So if we go on here and we say why this project is needed. Do you think I'm being too literal? So you guys are fine with that. Okay, so why this project is needed. And then how we will address this. Okay, perfect. So I was saying this before, Rhubarb. Don't say stuff like what we do in the future. Say what we do now. Like we don't envision to create, we create. Yeah, instead of we strive to, that sounds weak. It's we make. Yeah, we don't strive to make digital learning attractive. We do make digital learning attractive. Okay. So we're on number 3. Number 4, an explanation of the total project cost. What do you guys think of with the format I'm coming up with? Just the layout and style. You guys cool with it? I guess you had a lot more written here on who we are. So you just copied these sections from what we already had in there. So you just copied these. get rid of this heading. Why this project is needed. Yeah, I think I want to have my dark headings. I just need subheadings somehow. There we go. Alright, then let's update our table of contents to see what that looks like. I think that looks good, huh? And when you go down, they have dark blue, and then each subsection becomes light blue. I think they'll appreciate this layout. What do you think? Okay, so that's as far as you got. Wait, let me look. You did add that table in. So I also want to brag about our Project Orbit. That's a unique system that we've designed that other companies don't understand. They're usually really sloppy with their finances. So up above here, I want to talk a little bit about what Project Orbit is, because they give a lot of money to places, and then the money they give never gets used for anything. People's projects break down. So I think if we brag about Project Orbit, so we have some information on it on the focus hive. Project Orbit. Maybe it doesn't talk about it over here. Do we have any information on Project Orbit that you guys have seen? Really? It's just in my head, huh? So we'll have to change these numbers so they reflect the right thing, but this is a good start. And I do think our indicators could be reflective of what we found on the arc. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Project cost and breakdown. Okay, and then after that, so what do they really ask for on here for the project cost and breakdown? An explanation of the total project cost, including a breakdown of the grant required. Okay, so I would want to say on here, an explanation of the total project cost, breakdown of the grant required, and the source of matching contribution, and any other financial assistance for the remainder of the project. I think that looks good. What do you guys think? Yeah, they're not bad, but they're not great either. I mean, I'm at least setting up. I'm giving you guys also a template. You can go back on that ARC website. Like, if you guys just learn my personality, I'll do all the big bashing and moving stuff around, then you can come in and do the tedious, smaller things to make it align really well. Somewhere over here, I don't even know where I put it now. Maybe I made an Appalachia page. Appalachia alignment. Where did I put it? Do you guys know? Oh yeah, that's a smart place to put it. So somewhere in here it has indicators. Regional indicators of progress, page 45. Is it the very last page? Come on. Okay, so 4, an explanation of the total project cost, grant required. Well, I don't want to be too verbose because they might ask for indicators somewhere later on, and I don't want to duplicate that energy. So we'll just move on. A statement specifying whether the project is either this or that, as defined. If it provides both, we must identify the predominant use of the system. So we're definitely a distant learning program. We're not doing telemedicine. So, statement. Say it again. A statement specifying whether if the project provides both. Why are you number 1? What number 6? There we go. Yes. Well, I did say provided by our partnership with Microsoft. Do you not feel that's strong enough? Oh, I see what you're saying. An explanation of the total project costs, including a breakdown of the grant required and the source of matching contribution. I agree. Okay, so our overall project cost with an in-kind donation of provided by. Anything more than this? I think they're mainly upset with other companies that they sell hardware and software combined. And Microsoft's just not like that. I think when they know that it's Microsoft, they're going to be just fine with it. They're thinking the smaller companies that like try to trick their customers. And maybe even who Microsoft was 10 years ago. Maybe they did it even back then. Like, yeah, and if you bought Microsoft Windows, you can't really install that on a Mac that easily. But the Office 365 suite is. Okay, so an explanation of the project, including a breakdown of the grant and any other financial. I think we're fine with this. Okay. And then, so number 6, a statement specifying whether the project is requesting special consideration points. Yeah, so another thing, Rhubarb, that you should understand is, I don't think you've been to the U.S., and this area that we're in, it's extremely poor. Extremely poor. Like, people in Karachi have way better access to hospitals, better access to doctors, education. There's no universities that are really available for these people. The teachers don't have that much education. And a lot of people don't think that stuff exists in the U.S., but it definitely does. And that's why they're giving so much help to these specific areas. This one? Fine. Number 6, a statement specifying whether the project, if no, then write no. A general overview of the telecommunications system to be developed, including the type of equipment, technologies, and facilities used. I mean, that's going to be intense. I'm not going to write it right now. I'm just going to put a placeholder there. I'll come back to it. Telecommunications system to be developed. Nine, discuss the relationship informal consortium. Yeah, and we are making an informal consortium. Okay, so number 7 was telecommunication system. 8, a description of the participating hubs and the number of rural residents that will be served by the project at each end user site. So I think we should get that out of here. Or maybe that one we have in our notes. We're getting so many pages. Was this it? No, we had a different place. I thought we had a table. You know what? I'll look up Lone Oak. Show me all the pages that have Lone Oak on it. Oh, not on this page, on the whole section. Here it is. Okay, statement number 6. Yes, we did that. 7, telecommunication systems. So just so I don't have to come back and ever read this document again, I'm just going to pop that stuff in here. Okay, and 8. And what is 8 called? So 7 is called telecommunication. 8 is participating hub, participating sites. So I think this is a good blend of them wanting to look like a robot and me wanting to be artistic. What do you guys think? Very easy to what? I agree. Yes. Okay, 8 participating sites. 9 relationship of application with the sites. Okay, so I think I'm just going to call this an informal consortium. What's going on? I'm embarrassed now that I sent that dude that email and I considered that email an executive summary. This is way more intense. Whatever. When he gets this one, he'll be like, all right, maybe these guys are for real. All right, so they want to know the relationship of us and the hub and end user sites. And if we're going to be an informal consortium, and who is going to own the equipment. So essentially, just to let you guys know, Dow Learning is going to own everything. We're just going to be using the space of those places. We're also not even using this place, so I guess we need to update this. So Dow Cottage, that was like 085, I think. Yeah, 085. And then this one we're going to put on the bottom. We're not using that one either. Okay, so we have Dow Cottage, BB2C, Lone Oak. We're not using this one. Did we have another one in place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, the Ravenswood Multi-Purpose Center. It's not gonna like me doing this. It kind of is. Whoever's looking at this is going to know. Murraysville is not even a town. They don't have a post office. Come on. Yeah, they did say that people were putting the wrong names on different documents. Like each document might have, just like what I just did, I had a few different names on here. And they were saying, like, your names need to match up. But it makes sense why people are messing it up because, you know, you work on this for a long time and you might change your mind. Okay, so it says the number of rural residents that will be served. Do you think this is appropriate to say the number of residents that are going to be served? I think it is. I think we can say they're going to be open for membership for anybody in the public. So anybody, any age, is going to be allowed to get a membership at these places. I know especially these top three, they're all open to any ages. This one says seniors, but even when I was a kid, I worked with them. And this one, they have adults and kids there. And that's a very unique community. I don't know why they think it's 3,000 people. That is not true at all. Oh, I got to change these numbers now too. Okay, so 3898 is Lone Oak. That's good. Ravenswood 3876. Yeah, I agree. I'll replace this with that eventually. Or these are just descriptions on what I need to put in there later. But yeah, we'll go through and just put the sections in first, and then we can come back and fill them in. So number 9 is this. I want to read about what this means, section I and J. So let's just check that out. Discussion of relationship. If the application is informal, okay, a single fiscal agent must be identified as the applicant, and all entities must provide certifications and documentation under I and J. So what is I and J? I'm going to scroll up and see. Okay, I and J. Evidence of legal authority and existence. Well, that's annoying. I'm going to have to get that from these companies. It's not a problem on 2 levels. On 1, we could run these underneath one of my other companies. I have a company in Ohio and West Virginia. We could show legal compliance with those because we are only running it under our company. So let's see again. If they're informal, and when they're all requesting ownership, one fiscal agent must be identified, and all entities need to provide certifications and documentation. Okay, well, I think that will work. We'll come back to that. We'll get the business licenses for those other places. Yeah, I'm the one signing off on all that stuff. Okay, so whoops. How did I open up Audition? Alright, so we're on number 9. I did not want this. Get out. Okay, so we're on number 9. And we'll leave that for now, but I will copy it. And we'll make number 10. And number 11. And is that all there were? 11. Okay. A certification by the applicant that we have that facilities constructed with grants do not duplicate adequate established. Okay, I think I just sign on here saying that we haven't done that. A listing of the location of each end user site. Well, that's what I put on this one, so maybe I can just move that one down. And we'll just have a paragraph up there. A listing of the location. So what's the difference? A description of the participating hub and end user sites. The location. I think I should put the address on here. We have that on one of our other documents. Okay, the location of each site plus the state. Okay, I think I can get rid of the population and points actually. I think I can put a table on both. Maybe instead of a table, or instead of doing it that way, I'll just get rid of my table border. The border makes it look funky. Okay, so I think that's all we need here. Those 11. Let's see what else it says. At the end, please provide a section titled Publicly Releasable Project Description. Okay. Whoops. So I read some of these other ones, and I want to just match what they say. So if we go back online to the website, and if we look at their main page, they have a lot of the projects in 2019, for example. And this is what it wants. It just wants a paragraph like this that says how many people we're going to serve, all of that kind of stuff. Publicly releasable project description. And then I think that's it. May be released to interested parties inquiring about it. So please provide an adequate description, but do not include any information that we don't want released to the public. Also denote which is publicly releasable. Okay. So I think that's it. And then afterwards, scoring card. The competitive program. So I'm not sure where we put the rest of this stuff. Did you guys research that? Like, does it go in the executive summary? Or do we make a whole different document for this stuff? I think we could. What was? Okay, so we did not use this 3.1, 3.2. We didn't do that anywhere else in this whole document. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to make the top part called executive summary, just like what we did before. And then I'm going to start having subheadings like this. Because yes, I do believe it's one big document. So executive summary, it's not going to have a number on it. Not a problem. That looked all weird. Whatever. Okay, but then that one should be dark blue again, I believe. So the executive summary. Okay. This is feeling pretty good. Yeah, so I want you guys to learn too why I do things how I do, in that, we wrote that whole other document, and this alone was hard enough just as it was, because we're just coming up with a narrative, trying to wrap our own head around what's going on. And we're still going to include this whole thing. We're still going to include this back in the document with all the photos, everything. So it's not like this isn't used, it just gets placed in a different order. So we have that executive summary now. We still need to fill in a few areas that we didn't really talk about. But that is a good start. I think the next thing I'll do before we move on is just wrap my head around how we're going to structure this for the table of contents. So let's go back to that document. Let's read the DLT. And let's go to the top. She said something about it's the first thing they're going to look at. What page were you on that you read that, Miss Rhubarb? Yes. Their first overall view. This is the applicant's opportunity to discuss the core aspects. It should be yeah. Okay, so I feel like we're good with that. Executive summary. Then let's move on. Next section, scoring criteria documentation. We are scored an objective, this and that. Include the population. Okay, if any of this, adding up individuals, economic need. How is the score calculated? Special consideration. Need for services. Benefits derived that serve secondary. Provide a number of schools. The applicant should also document all other benefits provided with quantifiable goals when possible. A reduction rate in high school dropouts from 17 to 12%. So we do need to cover this, but where do we do it? How does the C work? So do you think that they want us to, so this is the B section. B was executive summary. So maybe we add a new section called scoring criteria documentation. So down, wait, not here, we go up, up, up. And I guess I'm not going to call this the executive summary. This is going to be the full proposal. Well, whatever. We have that other one as a backup now. It's called technical proposal. We're now operating from executive summary. Okay, so what we will do after this section is we will add a new section in, and we will call it scoring. Scoring criteria documentation. And I think it has a number on it, like, yeah, C. Okay, and then I think it's actually going to get rid of all these numbers here in our table of contents, and it's just going to say B, C, D, E, all of that, which I'm fine with that. Scoring criteria. So I'm wondering if we should take that table that's found over here in the scoring criteria, and if we should copy this table into that document. Delete some rows so it doesn't take up so much room. So I take that, put it in over here. Why are you so big? It's annoying. Yeah, I could do that too. So silly. So you're saying to make it a picture. I don't want to make it a picture. Merging this? Or merging these rows? Is that what you're saying? There's no state in there. So touchy. Oh, this one's not going to fit. I can make the whole thing bigger though. Okay, so that wasn't the first thing they wanted. Oh, I guess it is the first thing they wanted. Objective criteria, C1, C2, C3. So yeah, we give that, and then we give this table, and then we give this table. What do you guys think about this craziness? Whoops. It's weird, it's like the table is sitting on top, so if I type in up here, I think it's going to move. Oh no, it works good. I didn't think the table moved with my column. Alright, so that one's fine. Then we move on past this. And they wanted the economic need. So they just need this section. Don't think it's going to fit on this page. But we still have to finish the pages above it. Look at that, I got better. Still looks very ugly, but it works. Okay, rurality, economic need. Just making sure I'm going in the right order. Then special consideration. Special consideration. There's a problem with the clipboard, but you can still paste your content. Okay, why is there a problem with my clipboard? I think all they want is this one document. Okay, so there's my little arrow. So glitchy. There we go. Look at that, they can't even spell right. Poopus. That's fine. It doesn't need to be on that right side. Our project. Making our document look all ugly. Oh well. It's what they want. Say it again. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have that section done, but we need to add in an area down below it and make sure I'm outside of my table. And down below it, we need to fill in the next part of section C. Subjective criteria. Compares the specific need for the technology and how this blah blah blah. Need for services and project benefits. Needs and benefits. Was there a sheet on that? Application checklist. Isn't this crazy that they make you do all of this? We have 3 very smart people taking their time, jumping through hoops of someone else. It's stupid. Need for services and benefits. Which, that's our 0.2% thing that we have, and that other graph that I made. So what if I just move that whole section in right here? You guys like that idea? I move this whole area right here in. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they do. I mean, it's someone about at your level, and you have a boss that's telling you, you know, go through and score them. So it'd be you, and as you go through this document, you might actually just skip it and be like, let me just find it. Like, okay, that's where I can score them. And you might say, okay, yep, check. And you might say, yep, check. And you say, yep, check. Yep, we'll give that one money. That might be it. It also depends on what kind of mood you are in that day. If your boyfriend breaks up with you, you're like, oh, fuck these people. I'm going to go and, yeah, they're not getting any money from me. Seriously, it's very much like that. Well, yeah, that could be it too. It's acting funky on this section here. A whole while. Okay. Okay, I just want to add a heading above this, calling it this, need for services. Okay, and I don't want that split up on 2 pages. No, that's not going to work. I think it split it on 2 pages because I added this new heading here. More what? I want to do it though. Alright, so it is just my photo that's making it mess up, so I'll make my photo smaller. Okay, so now we have that. So let's look at our next step. So they have C1, they're just breaking down each section. Rounding, scores should be shown with a decimal rounded to 2 decimal places. 20.50. Well, we didn't have any. Rurality. Where are we? So this is my executive summary. There we go. So let me just pop that on the left and put that on the right. Okay, so this said round stuff by... I don't need a round. It's already fine. Economic need. It's based on the county. Make it all caps. How is it calculated? Okay, special consideration. We will offer special consideration if it is STEM. Okay, and if it's an opportunity zone. Need for service and project benefits. This criterion measures the extent to which the proposed project meets the need for distance. Some examples of benefits to be provided by the project, but are not limited to: improved education, travel time and money saved, number of doctors, number of additional students electing to attend, new stuff offered. Now we can do night training. I think they're going to be fine with what we said. Other matters that will be considered. Strong indication for us to pay the capital costs. This could include letters of financial commitment towards it from local institutions. The extent of the project planning, development, and support. This may include evidence of community involvement as exemplified in community meetings, public forums, and surveys. Other matters that will be considered. Although not eligible for in-kind matching, the extent of which the application addresses the problems of population outmigration, slow halt and prevent population loss. Clearly state the economic, geographical, educational challenges facing. Okay, so I think we should talk more here. I think we could take more out of our narrative and pop over there. Yeah, I might take all 8 of these pages and put in there, including this kind of stuff, but we can come back to that. Discuss other projects involving DLT awards. Okay, now we have matching requirements. Matching requirements. So at the end of all of this, now we have matching requirements. So let's keep this heading, put down here, and it is D. Matching requirements. So I think I can just get that off this. Matching worksheet, matching requirements. Let's just go and see. Our minimum is 15. Please use the worksheet to calculate the matching percentage. We must provide evidence from authorized representatives of the source. Okay. Match documentation specifics. We must document our proposed matching funds in form and substance satisfactory. Be signed by someone in our organization. The letter must clearly indicate the name of the donor organization and state. If it's cash, if it's in kind, state the actual dollar amount and give a complete description of the donation identified by the line item number and by the expected date of purchase. Letters that don't identify line items. Okay, fine then. We'll give you some line items. So annoying. I want my tables to show up better. That's silly. I gotta do that on all of them. What? don't get paid enough to backspace. I guess over here on all these guys too. Okay, now we have this guy getting donated too. Matching requirements. All that needs to add up to 91,708. So let's just make a new page here, paste those in. Equals sum all of these. I'm just making sure my math is right. No, it's not. 131. So why the U is so much? 130. Oh, because 10,000. I'm not going on that number. I'm going on that number. Okay, well that's one of them. And then all these numbers. So 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. I guess I'm missing that Azure one at the very top. This guy, I don't think I put him in there. Doesn't have it. Okay. Well, if I add that number to my new sheet. So A1 91,708. Is that what we need? 91,708. Okay, so I just need to add that next one in here. Insert one above. Okay, now it looks pretty. What do you guys think? Match requirements. And I think we need to talk more about this as to why we're going to use it. But I'm going to move on. We can always come back to that. It at least has the structure for it. Let's see what else D wants. So this is all D. Match documentation. So I need to provide... Yeah, I need to get that letter from Microsoft saying that they did donate that to us. Okay, but we'll move on to E. Scope of work. Provide a narrative, with charts if needed, explaining the scope of work. Make a clear and convincing presentation of how the goals of the project will be achieved. The scope of work completes the picture for the reviewer. It discusses how the organization proposes to proceed with the project. Okay, yeah, I think that timeline. The scope of work must include at minimum the activities to be performed, who will carry them out, and the time frames for accomplishing them. I think the project orbit should be put here as well. So I think even though we put it in the executive summary, it should be repeated here. So let's go back up there to get that. Yeah, this guy. Now again, these numbers are wrong, and the more I duplicate this, the more work it's going to be for us in the future. But I'm going to copy it anyway. Bring it back down. Okay, so we put that there. Then I think right after we put that timeline. So I'll go down here and get the timeline. Here it is. Timeline and strategy. No, I did not say that. What is going on? Okay, so I'm going to go to this word and everything after that word. X. See if that works. Alright, now we're going to scroll back up. Here we are, scope of work, right here on this page. Paste it in. There we go. Okay, scope of work, this, and we have our timeline. We talk about the 5 C's of education. I don't know if that's appropriate there, but a strategy. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, let's go back and see what else they want. Specify the activities, who will carry it out, and the time frames for accomplishing the projected. So the time frame is going to be that timeline. A budget for all capital expenditures reflecting the line item costs for approved purposes for both the grant funds and the matching. The budget must specify any line item cost. I never have seen a stupid grant that asks for this much stupid stuff. This is pathetic. I mean, I don't mind doing it, but they are really slowing down productivity on people, especially with how much people are not honest either. They're going to write huge proposals and they're not going to use the money how they said they were. And they don't have the oversight ability to make sure this happens. It's just hilarious. They really need to change how they are operating. Okay, additional guidance for the budget. The budget is a required document. So it sounds like we might be using the budget here. The budget should show each cost as a line item. Do not combine items into lump sums. Okay, so this is what I was wondering about. See, like, they don't want installation 50,000. They don't want wiring 100,000. So we need to go back over our budget and we need to break down the, like, see, we have installation 7,000. Installation 50,000, wiring 100,000, one video system 75,000. They just don't like that. Please provide such as the brand and model. Video keying this 5,600 as opposed to one video system 75. If a user fee or license fee is required to use this, it must be presented. Final budget total. So I think we take this table from Excel and we copy it at this point into this section. And I could at least put it as a placeholder right now. Not sure if, I don't think Word's going to allow me to edit it after I put it in. Word's just annoying like that. So after all of this, down here on this empty page, I'll make an empty page for us. And I'll add that budget in. And then I do need to squeeze it. There we go. Click that. Where's my other button on here? Well, I'll repaste it. I can't see it. Alright, so view mode. Let's see, one page only. There it is. Look, I got him. Doesn't look bad, actually. Doesn't look good, but considering in Word, it doesn't look bad. Okay, so we're going to leave this for now just as a placeholder, and we'll come back and we'll actually update it in Excel, and we have to turn all those into perfect line items. On most of the other grants, the bigger ones, they want us to keep the Excel file. And they tell us, send your Excel file to us. And they even work with you. They go over the different lines with you and they update it with you. And even throughout the whole life of the grant, they're working in that Excel file. And you'll highlight them different colors, you'll put comments on them. This organization doesn't understand. They need to learn from the other government organizations. I mean, I think this template they gave us is cool, but it doesn't sound like they're wanting us to use it. Let me go back and read again on here. Okay, so scope of work. Provide a narrative with charts explaining the scope of work. We already did that. And then additional guidance for the budget. The budget is required. Is also available. The budget worksheet with instructions is available in Appendix A. Do not combine items. Provide this. If the project a user fee is required, final budget total should be rounded to the nearest whole dollar amount. Well, I'm still not sure if this should be included in the file. What's Rubob's thoughts? Do you think we should include it in the Word file, or do you think we should include an Excel file? What do you think? I think we should include it in the Word file, just based on how they're talking about it over here. Okay, so one other thing that we haven't done yet is a budget narrative. So I'm going to get a generic budget narrative, and I'm going to put that in here. So let's assume this is perfect, which it's definitely not, but let's assume it is. Then down below it, we're going to move on to the next section. All right, so we are on scope of work, financial information and sustainability. Okay, so we're going to have a new section called that. Get my header for it. Now, the cool thing about this document, especially for you two, after we get this document all put together, you guys are more than welcome to sell your services on this research thing to other nonprofits besides ours. And you're welcome to take this document and give it to another organization. Well, if I were you, I wouldn't give it to them. I would tell them to hire you directly. Does that make sense? And you can make $20,000 just on writing this for someone else. It's normally $70 to $100 an hour, US dollars an hour, to write these. And I personally have put in, I'd say we're at like 30 hours by now. So that's $3,000. And I need at least another 10 hours before I'm done with it. So I'd say 5,000 minimum to get this one written. Okay, F is financial information. What do you guys think about that? Okay, financial information and sustainability. So we have some other documents that I'm going to go and look for, and they're called budget narratives. And, well, I guess before I get them, I'll read to make sure that's what they want. The applicant, we must provide a narrative description of feasibility, including having sufficient resources, expertise. The application needs to show that funding is available for the 3-year period it takes. See, look right there, 3-year. Like, why is the 3-year only right here? Why do you not say it up at the top? This is a 3-year proposal. To ensure the project's continuance as a viable community resource. Provide a narrative description that addresses the project's feasibility. It should include a description of the leadership, technical expertise, and how leadership and technical expertise is distributed throughout all the sites. And describe the flow of funds and institutional financial support. It should include all assumptions and the following information: a description of the project's revenues and expenses and the project budget, evidence of cost-sharing arrangements among hung and end users, if applicable, identification of any other items that may affect feasibility. Okay. Well, that's not really a budget narrative. That is just, it's more of the technical proposal. That's what we wrote over on OneNote today. What do we call that? Five-year timeline. That's what we called it. So all this stuff. Yes, I think we should include this in there. Financial information. Okay, I'm just going to copy this in there for now. Ah, it's so ugly. Keeping that, moving on. Statement of experience. Okay, then telecommunication system plan. And then compliance with federal. Rhubarb, did you get your new Word installed? Come on. Oh, the whole computer. Okay, J, then K is environmental impact. Is it helping you guys to be along? How so? Silence. Well then. What's going on? They should just hand out a template like this and say replace this area with this and make it a Word document instead of a PDF file. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, put both of them on there. Because you know they started this with a Word file. Okay, so Well, I'm ready for a break. We got it all put together. Now we just have to go through, and you guys are welcome to work on this. Um, if you have the right software, you're welcome to work on this. And without the right software, at least now you have a reference point. And what I would like to do is we start using our OneNote, and we only work inside of this area down here where we fill in B, C, all of that. And if it says anything in here that's not relevant, because I want to be able to just come here and copy and paste, copy and paste. So I'll take a break now, and I will be back on here later today doing the same kind of work. So thanks you guys for participating, and my pleasure. I'll see you guys next time.